The data has been corrupted, and we know that the 1930s were warmer than today.
Yeah. Corrupted? What do you mean corrupted?
Been manipulated and
By who?
By NASA.
Then I see the disinfectant, where it knocks it out in a minute, 1 minute. And is there a way we can do something like that by injection inside or almost a cleaning?
I don't like them putting chemicals in the water that turn the friggin' frogs gay. Do you understand that? Serious crap. I'm sick of being social engineered. It's not funny.
That guy sure is a character. But he's far from the only loud, opinionated person in the world spreading conspiracy theories and anti-science to the gullible for fun and profit. Even on our news media, we see people pushing their agenda using potentially dangerous rhetoric, either while oblivious to the facts or in a deliberate attempt to discredit them.
Hey, did I hear Alex Jones going nuts just now?
Oh, yeah, it was something about gay frogs or whatever.
That guy sure is a character.
That's what I said.
Hey, do you remember that time Donald Trump suggested injecting disinfectant as a potential cure for the coronavirus?
Yeah, I had that up a moment ago.
It's crazy, right? I can't believe they allow people to get away with saying stupid, dangerous stuff like this. If you ask me, it should be illegal for news media to broadcast this kind of stuff.
Okay, well, I can't recall seeing too many outlets encouraging people to inject bleach because Donald Trump said so.
But they did have people promoting the use of hydroxychloroquine to prevent COVID-19 after Trump said he was taking it, despite there being no research claiming it would help and suggestions by the World Health Organization that it actually may cause more harm than good.
So you're saying it should be against the law for news organisations to promote views that run contrary to the accepted scientific consensus?
Yes.
Okay, let's explore that.
We don't have to look too far to see the impact that conspiracy theories and pseudoscience can have on the wider world. Calls to poison hotlines in the US recently spiked after President Trump talked about injecting disinfectant to cure the coronavirus. Telco contractors installing 5G towers are being harassed because 5G caused coronavirus, or it's killing bees, or whatever it's supposedly doing today. This past summer, unprecedented bushfires ravaged Australia, destroying homes and killing nearly 450 people, not forgetting the incalculable loss of wildlife and environmental damage. Yet the debate around man-made climate change continues despite an overwhelming scientific consensus that it is, in fact, a thing. In each of these recent examples, the science is in. Man-made climate change is real, 5G didn't cause the coronavirus, and injecting yourself with bleach to cure a virus is a really, really stupid idea. Yet by so much as covering these events and allowing a platform for debate, the media is amplifying the spread of these dangerous theories which, in a very real and practical sense, is placing people in real danger. Conspiracy theories can appear to be relatively harmless and are a lot of fun to laugh about until you realise there are people out there who will believe them and act upon them, and then they become a lot less fun.
I'm not saying that the general population is dumb enough to inject themselves with bleach because the president suggested it, but enough people considered it to trigger such a spike in calls that scientists, politicians, even companies like Burger King felt the need to remind people not to do it.
A part of the problem today is that some of these theories are being shared by important people in our society. When a politician runs on an anti-science policy, or a celebrity says something outlandish, that in itself is likely to be covered by the media. But further exacerbating the problem is that news outlets are expected, and are sometimes mandated, to present a balanced argument that takes both sides into consideration. This is most often portrayed by having one person advocating for one side of the debate and one person advocating for the other. That's all well and good until you realise that by doing so you're giving equal weight to each side of the argument. In the case of climate science, in which it's said that 97% of climate scientists are in agreement, that means the opinions of the 3% are given equal footing. And a much bigger platform than they deserve. If the science is settled, why do we allow the debate to continue?
Well, if I were a cynical man, I'd say the answer to that is simple. Money and power.
Let's look at the climate change debate. Those resisting hardest against the published scientific consensus are those with a stake in industries that emit a lot of carbon. Oil companies around the world, worried that action to combat global warming might shorten the world's dependency on their product, continue to lobby politicians to block climate change policies such as investment in renewable sources of energy. Right-wing think groups, some even set up by fossil fuel companies themselves, publish papers full of discredited arguments and cherry-picked facts in order to cast doubt upon the peer-reviewed works of experts in the field. One of the most infamous of these is the Global Warming Petition Project, which lists over 31,000 signatories with science degrees, but 99.9% of those are not climate scientists. Yeah, if I were having brain surgery performed on me, I wouldn't want a doctor of marine science to be the surgeon.
The point is that journalists are supposed to act as the fourth estate, speaking truth to power and holding them to account. Misinformation campaigns can have a long and lasting damage, and it's usually the rich or powerful who utilise them, the very people journalists should be standing up to and taking to account, not assisting in amplifying their message.
Yeah. So you agree with me?
I agree that news corporations shouldn't be promoting the agendas of science-defying corporations and their stooges or fringe conspiracy theorists by giving them a platform.
So they should be illegal, right?
Well,
The problem here is who gets to decide what should and should not be allowed. If we're talking about making things illegal, then that suggests we're handing the decision to the people who make the laws. In other words, the government. Freedom of the press is essential because it allows journalists to stand up to the powerful and provide a voice to the voiceless. If that voice is being controlled by those in power, then the message being broadcast to the people is that of the state. It's not hard to imagine a scenario where a government attempting to push through a controversial policy simply says, well, our scientists say it's fact, so it's now illegal to discuss or promote alternatives. But the people would never let them get away with that.
you'd be surprised with what the people will tolerate from politicians and willingly rally behind. Just look at America right now.
Okay, fair point. But what if it wasn't the government that made the decision? What if we had an independent, non-partisan panel to decide what is and what isn't illegal to say?
And how do we choose who makes up this panel? Who do we select as the arbiters of what is and isn't true?
The idea that any group of people can dictate what can and cannot be discussed or debated in the press is positively Orwellian. It doesn't matter if it's the government or any other group of people making this decision. The idea that journalists can be punished for discussing controversial or sensitive topics is terrifying. Look at what happened with Annika Smethurst, the journalist whose home was raided by the federal police after she wrote a story revealing that the government wanted to start monitoring the conversations of Australians. Do we want to see journalists arrested for discussing things like climate change, or protections for whistleblowers, or Planned Parenthood, or for simply not agreeing with whatever the party line is for whoever's in charge? That's before we even get to the idea that our understanding of science can change. You won't see many people these days suggesting you shouldn't brush your teeth, Alex Jones maybe, but we now know that early toothpastes were actually harmful. Is this not something that the press of the time should have been able to discuss, flying in the face of the established science of the time?
I know that it's frustrating to see people given a platform to spout potentially dangerous, unscientific drivel in the media, especially when it's the media company themselves pushing the agenda for their corporate or political masters. You know who I'm talking about. But if we start legislating what the press can and cannot discuss, then that will do more harm to our society and our democracy overall.
I guess you're right. But then what can be done to stop these mindless debates from continuing and putting people in danger? Should we complain to the media companies?
You can do that, I suppose. Let them know you disapprove of having guests on who advocate for dangerous anti-science nonsense and providing a platform for them. You could also, I don't know, not vote for the people pushing these ideas or benefit from them in the first place.
Oh, there's not much chance I'll be doing that.
Why not?
Because I'm not real. I'm just a narrative device created to make this video more engaging than having you sit in the room by yourself.
What?
I'm just a figment of your imagination. Ooh.
Jeez, I need to get out of this house.